Hi everyone, so this is my third video on what steps an artist needs to take to get signed and what they can do for themselves before so. And I thought this video I'd concentrate on promotion techniques for artists. And as like a musician, which I'm sure you know, especially if you're your own, you'd know that you need obviously like promotion techniques and stuff. And there are many ways to promote your music, but nearly all of them are kind of boring now and a bit been there and done that. So I can't encourage bands enough to think of alternative ways. And even if someone suggests them to you, you come up with them yourself. Obviously, if you come up with them yourself, people might think it's a cool idea. So you're probably better off trying to do things like that other than sticking to the regulars. But of course, a good foundation for promotion at the moment for bands, and for live shows that you're doing is Facebook, SoundCloud, Twitter, even a Tumblr, Instagram and YouTube account don't hurt, because it's so easy to follow people on Instagram, and it's just one of those things. You can be uploading pictures of you rehearsing, pictures of you in the studio, pictures of you before shows, pictures of you at shows, things like that people might just find of an interest, and if you tag it to your Facebook as well, people are bound to see it. SoundCloud again, if there's a period of time where you've got no songs in there because you've not written of your own material, there's no harm in placing a cover song of like a well-known song. Like I'd say once a month would be a really good idea. Even if you don't take it seriously, you can take it down in a few weeks and you don't have to include it, you don't have to play it live or whatever. There's no harm in, especially if you're in like a rock or indie genre, taking a pop song and changing it and making your own, and vice versa if you're in the pop industry, taking a rock song or a hip hop song or whatever. If you try and mix it up and do different genres, it's going to be really interesting, like a bit like Live Lounge. People are probably going to really like that. Like I'm constantly on YouTube listening to Live Lounge songs, and I know a few bands that do covers and they do write their own stuff, but it's quite interesting to see how they pan it out and how they pull it off. If you heavily rely on social media, like I said, you need to keep it updated. You should be looking at 3 or 4 Facebook posts a week, even if it's a band that you know that you've been on tour with, or one that you want to go on tour with, or you just genuinely like their songs. There's no harm in you sharing some of their YouTube videos or their statuses saying where they're playing, especially because if you start doing it for them, you'll find they'll start doing it for you. So like try and pair up with people to help promote each other. For instance, if you're based in London and you know a band in Manchester, if you've helped them out a bit and promoted them where you are and got some of your fans to listen to them and like their page and stuff or follow them on Twitter and everything like that, if they're playing a headline show in Manchester and they're short of a support act, there's no reason why they wouldn't say, how about we set you up as support for our tour or our show, and you set us up with a support for one of your shows in London. It's a really good idea. I can't stress it enough. I do it with a lot of the bands that I've managed before. I've been like, you need to talk to these guys to get a show here, you need to do this and you need to do that. And I know that travel comes into it a lot, but it's not as expensive as you think it is, as long as you've got the money behind you, which is what I'm going to get onto in a video like later on, the one that I'm posting tomorrow. Physical distribution promotion, so flyers for upcoming shows, posters for events you're playing, CD giveaways, magazine adverts, things like that. You need them fresh and you need them to look good. CDs, they can just be in a plastic case, like a plastic wallet, that's fine, everyone expects that and it's cheaper. But flyers, there's nothing worse than when you're in a queue to a gig and someone's band come round and give you a flyer, which is what you should be doing. You should be outside shows that are a similar genre to you, handing out flyers, talking to people, like networking and getting people to like your music, especially if you sound like the band they're going to see. There's nothing worse than getting a flyer that's been printed on a bit of A4 paper and it's got a board around it and nothing on the back. It's not a flyer, it's a piece of rubbish, it's just paper, it doesn't look good, it looks unprofessional. I can't stress it enough, when you've designed a flyer you need a front design and a back design. Even if you can't afford to have it professionally printed, even if it's on A4, cut the borders off. It may be flimsy, but at least it's got a front and a back and it's going to catch your attention, instead of just being handed a piece of paper. And also you should look for deals on flyers, because a lot of people do 500 for a tenner in places like that. And especially if you're at school or college where there's graphic design students, you can ask them if they've got any projects to do. You can ask them to like design your flyer and you'll print them up and they can put it in their work and stuff. That's a really good idea. Like I did that a lot when I was a promoter in Watford. Posters the same. Posters, you need to have sort of a shine onto them, so they need to be printed like semi-professionally, I'd say, like if you're strapped for a budget. because if you're sticking them up outside and around places, if it rains and it's paper, not card, or a little bit thicker, it's just going to rip and it's going to look rubbish, and someone's going to come straight round and rip it down because it's just not, it's going to be a bit of an eyesore. So I'd suggest that. And I'd also suggest with posters, every 2 weeks you go round when you have time. I'd say more regularly than 2 weeks, but obviously you need a bit of a social life. Just re-stick up posters, even if it's the same one and it's in the same place, at least then it looks up to date and it's not going to be crappy and ripped. Like, it's going to be there and it's going to be catching people's attention. And also with flyers and posters, I have to stress, some areas you need licenses and little flyer passes that you have to wear, so make sure you have those, because if you're caught it can be a bit of a hefty fine. If you see a wall and loads of people have stuck posters on there, then I don't see if it would be a problem if you did it. But again, with flyers outside gigs and stuff, just be very, very careful. Magazine adverts, you often have to pay for them, even if it's in your local newspaper, if it's in Kerrang, Enemy, Smash Hits, or whatever, like whatever magazines you can think of, whatever genre you're specific to. Like Front magazine's really good, that won't cost you too much to do. You should have one in like once a month, just once a month, just a little advert at the back, because you'll be surprised at how many people do actually read those. CD giveaways, don't stand outside a shopping centre on a high street handing out CDs, because they are just going to look awful. And fair enough, CDs should be in a plastic wallet, because obviously you're strapped for cash, and if you're handing out proper cases for free, you're not going to be making yourselves any money. But no one's interested. There's nothing more irritating than when you're trying to go shopping and someone's coming over trying to give you something. It's really, really irritating. I know that they're free and people like free stuff, but it's annoying. The only thing I can suggest for that is if you're busking, sort of, if you're busking with your band and the drummer's not needed because it's an acoustic set or whatever, bring someone along. If you get a crowd, which often you do, I love seeing buskers when I walk down the road, and I always stop and give them a listen and things. If there's a bit of a crowd gathering, even if you only take 20 CDs and there's a little bit of card in there saying, this is who we are, this is what we do, this is our Facebook, this is our Twitter, like all your social media sites, this is the next gig we're playing within this area, and hand them out. People know that they're not going to have to pay, even if you have to write a free CD on it. People know they're not going to have to pay. If they stood there and watched you, the chances are they're going to take a CD. It's like a little bit of light promotion, and it won't cost you much. I can't recommend it enough. Again, bands I've made do that. The other thing with CDs and gigs is actually, if you've got a ticket to see the gig or one of your friends has, is a little bit of hassle, but even if it's just during the support acts, if there's people at the bar or queuing in the cloakroom or outside smoking, whatever, there's no harm in you being like, oh, you're here to see da-da-da, we sound a lot like them, here's our CD, give us a listen, it's free. Give us a like on Facebook, we're playing a gig here, like it'd be really cool if you could come along. Again, just networking outside the gig, expressing who you are, handing out CDs. Even if you've got like a code for like a free download or anything like that, it's fine. If you're an indie band as well, the thing I would suggest is to hand out cassettes, because they're in fashion at the moment. I wouldn't go as far as records because they're really expensive, but I'd say cassettes. Try and think of as many different promotion techniques as possible. Like if you do something outside the box, then your demographic are going to be like, that's really cool, I can't believe they've done that. Like, do competitions like the person on Facebook who gets us the most likes within the next X amount of time, you get a free t-shirt, a free CD and free entry to our next show. I know it costs, but it should promote you enough so that people are going to want to come along to your shows, so you'll make up for the money. Just do as many outside of the box promotional things as you can, and that's the best advice I've got. I'd give you more out of the box ones, but you have to come up with some yourselves. Thank you.